The commanders of deletion. Most people see history as a series of names and dates. They are looking at the surface. Here we look at the mechanics. We audit the invisible newts. War is not a sport, it is an individual scale liquidation of biological and logistical viability. Today we are auditing the 5 greatest strategists who didn't just fight, they engineered the end of existence. From the Nile to the Great Steppe, this is the anatomy of the vacuum. Number 5, Pharaoh Necho II. The Arterial Order. So we begin with Pharaoh Necho II. He understood a truth that most empires ignore. Geography is the first line of defense, but logistics is the first line of attack. Necho didn't just build an army, he attempted to engineer the world's circulation. He spent decades and thousands of lives digging a canal from the Nile to the Red Sea. This wasn't a public work project, it was a strategic arterial audit. Necho was seeking to bypass the desert and link the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean 2,000 years before the modern era. By attempting to control the veins of the world, he was attempting to delete the isolation of his enemies and to monopolize the flow of global calories. So when you control the flow, you decide who gets to breathe. Number 4, we audit the Arterial Deletion at Tyre. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great faced an island fortress that considered itself unassailable. The Titarians laughed from their walls, protected by half a mile of deep water. Alexander didn't just wait, he performed a physical audit of the city's existence. He dismantled the old city of Tyre on the mainland and used the rubble to build the mold, a literal bridge through the sea. He turned an island into a peninsula, but the real liquidation and severed the underwater aqueducts that fed the city. He turned the sea into a wall and the city into a desert. And when the water stopped, the countdown to 0 is absolute. Alexander didn't just conquer Tyre, he deleted its status as an island and its visibility as a biological system. Rank number 3, Julius Caesar. The industrial cage. Julius Caesar at Alesia is the gold standard of the industrial cage. Caesar didn't just surround the Gaulish leader Venarex, he built 2 separate rings of fortifications, one to keep the defenders in and one to keep the relief armies out. 11 miles of wall, trenches, and traps facing inward, 13 miles facing outward. This was the creation of a biological dead zone. The audit shows that the Gauls weren't defeated by the sword, they were liquidated by the simple physics of encirclement. Caesar turned a hilltop into a vacuum. He sat at the middle of his cage and watched as the caloric supply of 80,000 men hit point 0. He proved that you don't need to breach the walls if you can simply delete the air inside of them. Rank number 2, Sima Yi, the logistical strategist. At number 2, we audit Sima Yi, the master of the systematic hold, while his rival Zhuge was the architect of the voice. Sima Yi was the master of the long-form liquidation. During the Wuzan Plains campaign, Sima Yi understood the physics of exhaustion better than anyone. He attempted to engineer the world's, He knew that the Shu army was operating on a 1,000-mile supply line through the treacherous mountains. Sima Yi's strategy was simple: absolute non-engagement. He endured the ultimate insults with cold forensic detachment. He wasn't being passive, he was ordering the biological clock of his opponents. He knew that every day he refused to fight, the Shu food supplies were being deleted. Sima Yi didn't need to strike a blow. He left the simple math of saturation and the logistical decoy to do the work for him. He outlasted the greatest minds of his era by simply letting the vacuum do the work. Rank number 1, Genghis Khan. Here in America we say Genghis Khan, but in Mongolia it's actually pronounced and said Genghis Khan. The industrial scale. Finally, we ordered the absolute master of the vacuum, Genghis Khan. Khan didn't just conquer, he dissembled civilizations. When he audited the Carolinian Empire, he used speed as a mechanical tool of systematic liquidation. His empire was twice the size of Alexander's. Why? Because his logistical reach was twice as long. The Mongol army operated at a scale that redefined the physics of starvation. They outran the news of their own arrival, hitting cities before they could even begin to stockpile resources. Khan would divert entire rivers to delete a city's water supply, or use the inhabitants of one city as a human shield to delete the next. This was industrial scale deletion. He didn't just win the war, he performed the forensic audit of the planet and decided which cultures were no longer viable. He is the 0 point of history. The final output. These 5 men didn't just lead armies, they engineered the end of civilizations. They understood that victory isn't about the strength of the gate, it's about the reach of the noose. So when the logistics hits 0, the human element follows. History belongs to commanders of the vacuum.